Professor, sir, first of all, can you, it was an interesting post today that you made on Facebook. What prompted you to do that post?
Uh, Actually, it's a long time been observed for many years now, I guess. Uh, is it wait, English or can I Tagalog?
Pwede sagol bay.
Sige,
Sagol
sige.
tayo.
I observed the situation for quite a long time na. Uh, Probably 5 years or even way back 10 years ago. There's this probably since I cannot remember when exactly, but basta starting 2000 year 2000 onwards, there's that slowly parang instances that cites tracing Filipino heritage,
Yes.
Filipino roots, identifying the Filipino in us in Filipino movies and all that. Probably even in the late 90s, meron na
Uh,
featured by mainstream media in general.
I
Well, at
remember.
first it's really good. At first it's really good, but over time, trivial stuff like parang backdrop lang isang movie scene or an extra character or an extra actor sa isang major movie scene that just speaking the Filipino language, parang wow, big deal. And yeah.
Yeah. I remember the first time, I don't know, no, pero I remember yung kay Lou Diamond Phillips.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
basta anyone na may, let's say if the human body, let's say for example, has 100 liters of blood, kahit dalawang drops lang na Pinoy, hey, we would, excited tayo, "Oh, Pinoy yan, Pinoy yan." But is
yeah.
this something good actually, Professor?
Um, Actually, it's good. Uh, at first, it's kind good because I traced that back personally based on observation. I traced that back from our siguro we had this feeling na we are isolated in the world, that we really thought that we couldn't do it big time, probably because of siguro colonial history and all that. Self confidence wise, self esteem wise, we didn't have that before because we grew up in a siguro we grew up in a society or a social structure that's telling us that we are just mere workers, yung kumbaga. Then suddenly, out of sudden, there are uh, some people who broke that cycle and eventually made it big time in foreign lands. And in addition to that, in my understanding, we have this kasi parang similar to other Asian cultures, similar that we seek we can only say that we're doing the right thing if it's validated by people outside our race, outside our culture. So now that's happening. Eventually, in this time that's happening, parang uh, we get excited to the point that sometimes it's misplaced.
Mm,
Parang out of context, parang trivial na siya masyado, and sometimes
true.
it's not amusing anymore. And I also and I think I'm not hindi rin ako I'm not just the only person. I've noticed also kapag there's this article and some people would say na or were sarcastically saying na ayan, proud Pinoy na naman, proud Pinoy post in 3, 2, 1, parang ganun. And some would explain that grabe naman kahit kahit baso lang na reflecting Filipino identity, or even yung sa pop culture like Avengers,
Yung bahay
yung
kubo.
yung Bahay Kubo and the Terraces, big deal na, and yun.
But
Uh,
is this...
i-
Mm,
they're stretching na.
mm,
And eventually, I noticed, because of this, parang notice na din ng ibang ng foreign ng ibang ng foreigners, ng ibang mga lahi, na they seem to be excited when there's something Filipino in it, and they want to unfortunately, in my understanding, they want to, let's say, take advantage of that kind of excitement. So they purposely create content similar
mm,
with Filipino connection, something like that,
mm.
so that mapag-usapan sila.
But
Yun.
isn't that a phenomena that reflects our lack of pride in ourselves? I mean, is that actually an indication that we don't know, we don't have this collective sense of identity na we have to look to Hollywood for affirmation. We have to look for, we have to look to the US. Pag andun ka, stateside ka, Pinoy ka, good ka.
Yeah, that's a point. I mean, why make these things trivial, big deal pag we made it to the foreign land? Or there's this Filipino identity shown in popular culture, especially in Hollywood and anything that the West portrays. There's one thing I can uh, imagine is that, again, like I said kanina, um, siguro sa pinaglakhan natin na kultura, that we were probably born and influenced by our colonized past, that we Filipinos hanggang dyan lang, and then and in order to prove that kaya natin, people people outside our own race and foreign people or foreign entities should highlight our identity to show na parang, yeah, we belong in this we belong in this global spotlight and all that. But that's the problem, eh. We only limited our tawag natin, uh, our capacity and our the ability of Filipino creativity and probably uh, skills on the aspect of Hollywood lang. That's the sad thing there. When in fact there are a lot of really truly amazing Filipino works that goes beyond just the spotlight of social media or even films and music videos, especially in the field of science. Marami na in the field of engineering. OFWs alone are fine example of Filipino grit and endurance, resiliency, among others in foreign countries, and these aren't much talked about.
Mm.
So this yun nga, parang we only appreciate things pag nasa film, nasa media, shown by the media, yun, because I think that's easy to spot. And
Yes.
no, yun. That's
But
just what I thought.
which is actually for me a bit sad, no? Kasi for example, we're looking to Hollywood, we're looking at the silver screen. Pag andun yun, it's good, but no one even remembers Carlos Bulusan nowadays, ano? Uh, a writer who actually learned English while in a hospital bed in the United States. Didn't know a word of English, but became one of our greatest writers, you know? So no one remembers Carlos Bulusan. But
Yes.
then again, example, pag andito ka, we don't want to drink añejo yung 65, ano? Kasi it's Baduy, or let's say Tanduay.
Oh,
We want the important stuff. Gusto natin ng fundador, but once an American comes here and looks for añejo or Tanduay, parang sikat na siya. Oh,
yeah,
yung sabi ng
that's
kano, it's the finest rum. And then lahat tayo tongga na naman ng anyeho or tanduay, ano? But pag wala na yung kano, we look to fundador. Although, of course, fundador is now owned by a Pinoy, actually.
Yeah.
So parang ganon. Is this,
It's
Professor,
because
a false or misplaced sense of pride?
I can categorically say that, but I'm sure there are a lot of factors. Siguro di lang natin nakikita yung sometimes parang sa family ba, within our family, and then they really thought that their family member is parang patapon and wala nang future sa buhay, and suddenly this family member eventually got out of probably poverty or yung the cycle na yung kumbaga from the typical stereotype that we've been putting against that relative, and when he was successful and he seems to be doing his or her job right or career path na may direction siya, then we realize na di tayo makapaniwala. We couldn't believe that this is happening to this family member because we really thought that he or she couldn't make it, parang ganon. So in that microcosm, in that single unit sa family, within the family, I'm sure we had that situation before. And on the bigger scale, as a community, Pinoy lang naman yan, no? Magiging male lang yan, magiging ano lang yan, di ba? But eventually, some people made it that far, not just on the field that serving others, because I think yun din eh. We grew up in a notion that we live to serve others, although to a fault sometimes. But eventually, some made it that they're the boss of other race or other. They are being heard. They are being showed equal respect, parang ganon, as compared with other nations that we considered as most advanced, most progressive, and all that. Then something that we couldn't believe. We couldn't believe na these things happening pala, and these things is possible pala. So we appreciate this, and sometimes to the point that yun nga, to the point na we keep on appreciating, however, unfortunately, on sometimes, if not most of the times, in a surface level lang. Surface level of appreciation.
That's true. Kasi I'll give you an example, yung first, among the first OFWs natin are actually cane cutters, ano? Yung they went to Hawaii to cut canes. Dito we have the sakadas eh. Pag sakada ka sa Negros, ano yan, bay? Sakada man na, bay. Pero pag naa ka sa Hawaii, bay, nagtati siya, asa pa sa gaubra? Naa sa States, bay. Ano man tong ubra niya? Tapas, karga. So you see, it's parang geographical, ano? If it's menial jobs abroad, parang hero ka. But dito, we don't give a shit about that, actually. In fact, we treat our laborers parang, Negros Hacienda. Yung laborers dito, parang, laborer ka lang. Parang ganon. Which brings me to your point, Professor?
Yes, that's probably because of the economic aspect as well. Because, yun nga, when you are outside the country, the pay, even it's menial, the pay is better, realistically better than, In fact, I've known people that they already have business here, but they go to the United States. They work at a convenience store. So ganon. I mean, that's a glaring gap of income compared to the 7-Eleven workers or a convenience store worker here in the Philippines compared to the convenience store worker overseas. So that's one factor, actually.
Yes. Professor Nef Luczon, sir, maraming salamat po.
Yes.
Thank you, and I
Thank
hope
you for the call. Yeah.
I hope people will think about this. Professor, amping diha po.
Salamat
Salamat.
kayo.